La case juste ici.
So there is a donation boxes that are going around, and if you could throw, a loonie or a toonie or something like that in, it would go a long way to covering the cost. Any money that's left over will go to the continued fight. So our first singer, he's Ben Seegers. He's a retired zoology professor and closet songwriter.
Joni taught us long ago, don't pay paradise, not the way to go. Surely we have learned her lesson. Then Van der Zam told us all, here's your park, have a ball. That was 89, now it's 07. Now the parks we come upon, it all just seems so wrong. A sad chip on the bargaining table. Campbell boasted by 2010 we'd be the healthiest province then, but not by selling parkland, Mr. Premier. And tell De Jong he's all wrong, and that's why we're singing the song. Okay, folks, chorus. Save the triangle, save Block F. Save the triangle, save Block F. Save the triangle, save Block F forever. Forever, forever, in perpetuity.
Several months ago, I received a call from a reporter asking how I felt about the proposal to take 120 acres of Pacific Spirit Park in order to save the golf course. This question literally took my breath away, as it was the first time I'd heard of it. We had not received any formal proposal from the province. However, we were very aware of the lobbying going on. I personally received over 150 emails begging Metro Vancouver not to support the suggestion from Mr. Zlotnick. Fortunately, after being questioned in the legislature, Mr. De Jong stated they were rejecting this idea outright, much to our delight and I'm sure yours. On November the 7th, I received a phone call from Mr. De Jong's office asking me to attend a meeting with the minister the following day. Metro Vancouver was represented at this meeting by Chair Mayor Lois Jackson, Director Gary Gibson, Director Ralph Drew, and CAO Johnny Carline, and myself. It was at this meeting we were informed of the province's intention to take land from Pacific Spirit Park and turn it over to the Musqueam Band. Since then, I have received an additional 100+ emails opposing the decision, which is the reason we are all here today.
As Gail has just said, we are giving up parkland to save the government's neck in this whole situation. They have 3 court cases that they are trying to settle, and they've done it by taking away private assets, in this case Pacific Spirit Park. We don't think that's the way that the negotiation should take place, because what's next in our community? What other parks are susceptible to take over to settle First Nations issues? What's next for us here in Pacific Spirit Park? There are at least two other areas that could be nabbed in the future after a lot of publicity. We heard about the official plan, the official 2 parcels of land. We met with the government, and then the announcement was made the following day.
And this forest, in its more or less its present form, has been around for 10,000 years on the rebound from the last ice age. And 10,000 years ago, with the invasion of agriculture, towns, cities, and urban sprawl, we got into the present, the mode that we've been in for the last considerable lifetime in this area of collision between what's left of the wilderness and urban development. And this collision destroyed all of the forest covering the Vancouver area, all of the forest near sea level was destroyed except for a few remnants like Stanley Park, Lighthouse Park, and Pacific Spirit Park. And this remnant is vital to keep for the next 10,000 years and beyond. And we laid in the beginnings of another trail across a wetland in Block F so that you would have a braided network of trails through the central corridor of the park and the bridge of parkland from the south to the north across that narrow waste would be a braided network rather than a single footpath that might be left after the proposed transaction. And it's extremely important that that bridge be preserved. The park is a bridge. It's a bridge to the spiritual connection that the people that lived here for 10,000 years had with the wilderness, and that we, all of us, have rediscovered the spiritual connection that most of the population of British Columbia lives here. And beyond the next lifetime, the next 100 years, the next 1,000 years, it's going to be more difficult to leave the city. These remnants of forest need to be kept as a bridge between people and nature.
I call this on the wings of a butterfly. Why must our parkland be preserved? Of what significance is Pacific Spirit Regional Park ecologically, culturally, and spiritually? Pacific Spirit faces many changes in these dark days of rising oceans and increasingly chaotic and unpredictable weather patterns. Our parks must adapt to global warming as we lose wetlands outside the dikes to increase diking and filling. For Pacific Spirit, this could mean a substantial loss of richly biodiverse estuarine habitat through diking. Ecologically, Pacific Spirit encompasses intertidal and foreshore to the forested upland ecological reserve. Now, more than ever in the history of Pacific Spirit, we must not lose any of our precious parkland. If anything, we need more, not less parkland, if we are to preserve wellness in our urban environments. We are all interconnected in the web of life, and especially in Pacific Spirit. What a difference lies between a flat map and the actuality of the triangle lands the provincial government has used as a bartering chip with the Musqueam or people of the grass. The tip of that triangle, because I walked it yesterday, is only 330 feet south of Samanad-bearing Booming Ground Creek, also known as Skamatwalthasta. So, while the Musqueam may not have been awarded Booming Ground Creek in its watershed, Musqueam development of the Triangle lands will indirectly affect the creek, watershed, and vast marshes below. We are all blessed in Pacific Spirit that the Musqueam and later visitors to this area of planet Earth have felt and recognized the inherent spirituality of this precious place and of those who have gone long before us. Trotting the sun-dappled paths between giant fir, cedar, and even noble fir is often more spiritual than sitting in any church man might ever build. In the words of Chief Seattle, man did not create the web of life. He is but one strand of it. And what we do to the birds and the beasts we do to one another.
18 years ago in 1989, the BC government decided to hand over the university endowment lands to the Greater Vancouver Regional District. They sponsored a province-wide Name the Park contest, and I was the winner with my entry of Pacific Spirit Park. The name, thank you. The name was inspired by the First Nations, their belief in the Creator and their close ties to nature. Every entry was required to have a reason behind their choice, and mine was that this land was the gateway to the Pacific and a spiritual ground to becoming one with nature. One of the prizes awarded to me was a helijet ride over the park and the North Shore Mountains. And even though I was really excited to be on this flight, the first thing that came to my mind was really how little green space there is in the city. So it was kind of heartbreaking at the time. If we remove these parcels of land from Pacific Spirit Park, it will set a very bad precedent where all park lands will be at risk for development.